Welcome everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers that I know there are plenty of. Excellent to have you on board. Just a quick one today. Just gone for a walk. I had to go visit the visa agent today. You can see it in the background, assisted visa here in Chiang Mai. Wasn't sure what I was going there for. I was a bit confused, but basically when I went to immigration last time and they took me there, they put a little card in my passport saying that I was to come back on the 21st, because that's the date that the I think it was the 21st, yeah, the 21st, that's the date for I go and get my retirement visa for 12 months. So what I went there today for was to drop off my passport. I thought I was going to go to immigration, thus the shirt and trying to look a little bit more respectable. But it's no need to, I don't have to. So yeah, I just called in there and handed over my passport, and then they'll do all the rest. And then when they've contacted and got the information for my actual visa, they'll ring me, which could happen 2 or 3 days either before or after that date, and then I'll go back in again and pick up my visa. So looking forward to that. Anyway, so for the rest of the day we might just go for a quick walk, and I'll go find somewhere a little bit more quieter, and we'll be back in a sec. Cheers guys. Hey everybody, welcome back. Yeah, I couldn't find anywhere nice and quiet, so I thought, oh well, I'll just come back here and we can talk about visas. Okay, it's a hot topic, a lot of people asking questions, and what I will let you know about retirement visa application is just from my own experience and what I'm going through at the moment, and how it works going through the agency that I'm using. So we'll look at it from that point of view. I'm no expert. If you really want to find out more details, you know, you need to contact one of these agencies and find out for yourself the more detail. In this, I won't go through prices at all. I won't mention the costs of anything, because they're all different. Even with the agent I'm going through, it all depends on your individual circumstance. All right. So we'll have a chat about it. I've got some paperwork from there that I can just refer to for the details when it comes to applying for your retirement visa. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you've got comments or questions, I'll do my best to answer. You just put them down below. But like I said, you know, contacting the agencies themselves is the best way. Another thing too is, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. That's great. The channel is growing really quickly. All right, so retirement visa. Okay, so in my circumstance, I researched what I could before I left Australia in the process of doing this. There was one thing that we'll talk about later on that I did make the mistake of, and I wasn't aware of, but we'll mention that later on. So when I left, well, just planned to leave Australia, and this is referencing from Australian point of view coming to Thailand, I applied for a tourist visa. Okay, I did that last time I was here. The reason is you get longer on a tourist visa than you do on a visa exemption. So many countries are qualify for visa exemption. You don't have to apply for a visa before you come to Thailand. You just come through and immigration will automatically give you, don't quote me on this, I think it's 14 days. Okay, it might be 30. I'm not sure. Okay, so it's been a couple of years since I've come in that way. But with a tourist visa, you get 60 days on a tourist visa. All right. Now, to apply for retirement visa like I am, you can't do that on a visa exemption when you come into the country. You need to apply for your tourist visa, 60-day tourist visa, all right? Now, there are ways. I know people are going to ask, well, why didn't you apply for the retirement visa from Australia through the embassy and consulate? The reason why I did that was it's a bit more expensive that way, and there's a few more requirements. One of the requirements is you needed to have a police check, police criminal history check, and you also needed to have insurance for medical. So you need to take out an insurance policy. And from when I was checking, there was only a certain number of government recommended, that's Thai consulate recommended companies that you could go through to get your retirement visa, well, your retirement visa insurance for health insurance that you need. And they were all quite expensive, and there wasn't a great choice amongst it. I was told, and I found out that if you organise it when you come to Thailand, you can do that either. It's your choice. It's not a requirement over here. You don't have to get it, or you've got a bigger range of selection of what you want to be covered for, and the costs are much more different. Also, obviously, there's no police and criminal history check when you're doing it here in Thailand, which no effect for me, but it might be an effect for some people. So, with the tourist visa, you arrive here as normal. You come through immigration and you're checked in, and you're given 60 days from the time you check in. The application is done online in Australia through the consulate. In my case, it was in Sydney. So you go to the website, you submit all the documents. You need a bank statement showing funds. At the time, I had my Bangkok bank account, and I just showed the funds I had. That just printed off a statement showing that for the last, I think it was 2 or 3 months worth of savings. I think there was a limit, but it was only fairly low. There wasn't a great deal that you needed in there, just to show that you had funds to cover your 60-day tourist visa, pretty much. You need a copy of your passport. There was another form of identification. I think I used my driver's license. And that was all sent and done online, and attachments put through. Then that goes through to the consulate. And then within about, in my case, about 5 days, just over a week, I got a email back saying that it had been accepted, and I needed to now come into the consulate or send all that paperwork that I'd given them online, the actual original paperwork, send that to them and start the process. So the pre-approval was done. For me, it was easy to hop on a train and go into the city. I'm only 20 minutes away. So I took all my passport, my bank statement, my photos, everything I needed for that application that I already submitted. I took the hard copy stuff straight to the consulate, got there, they open at 9 in the morning, straight in, handed it all across, and then they give you a little thing telling you to come back in, I think in my case it was about 5 working days, or the following week. So if it was a Tuesday, to come back the next Tuesday. So I did that, come back the next Tuesday, and there it was, picked up my passport with my tourist visa stamp in it, done. Now, that stamp, that 60 days begins from when you arrive at immigration in Thailand. It doesn't begin when you receive your passport back from the consulate. All right. The other alternative was you mail all that stuff in, and then they'll mail it back to you. I don't think the time difference is much longer. It's just that I prefer to not send my passport through the mail, and it was easy for me to just hand it in myself. So with that done, no problem. One of the questions on the form for filling out for the tourist visa was you needed to have your flight numbers and dates that you were going into Thailand and date you were leaving Thailand. All right. Now, in my case, I was not leaving Thailand. I was not coming back. I had a one-way ticket. Okay, which is fine, but you need to show onward travel. Okay, so rather than buying a return ticket back to Sydney and the extra cost of that, which at the time was about $1,200+ for a return ticket on Thai Airways, you could have gone cheaper, Air Asia or something. But I found a one-way ticket for it was under $600 on Thai Airways. It was a good daytime flight, direct, and it left in the morning and arrived early in the afternoon. It was fine for me. So that needs to go on there. Then you need an onward ticket. So your onward ticket would be just the cheapest ticket you can find out of the country. And towards the end date of your 60 days. Okay, that's something I did anyway, just to give that show that that's why I applied for a 60-day visa, because of the amount of time I planned to stay there. So towards the last week of that date of the 60 days, I booked a ticket on Vietjet, which is Vietnam Airlines, to Cambodia. All right, so Bangkok to Cambodia and return was I think it was 150 Australian dollars. It was really cheap, so I bought that. So that the return part they don't care about, because if you leave, you can come back and you get back onto another visa exemption for another, I don't know, is it 2 weeks or a month? Whatever I said, whatever it is. So I did that with no intention of using it, but just showing that if immigration asked me, that I had onward travel beyond coming in on a one-way ticket. So with that all done, I come through immigration, no problem. I used what they call the fast track service, VIP service, cost an extra 65, 67 Aussie dollars. And what happens with that is it's the airport in Bangkok, you can book it online, and it's a service offered by the airport where they'll have representative meet you at the plane, like right where you step off the aircraft into the terminal. They'll stand there with your name, they'll take your carry-on bag for you and walk you down to immigration. If it's a long walk, sometimes they'll have a buggy there and off you go. It's basically a skip the queue scheme, and it's really handy. So rather than go through immigration where everybody else is all queued up in their hundreds, going through all that frustration, we go through it's where the pilots and VIPs go, off to the right, and there's no line at all. You walk straight up to the officer, put your passport down there, stamp, and you're out in minutes. So fantastic. Your escort will also meet you from there. They'll guide you down, they'll take you to where your luggage is coming out, they'll wait with you while you wait for your bags to come out. In the what I do is I take a photo of my bag and I show that to the girl or to the guy there, and then they watch for my bags while I go off and grab my SIM card or cash, change money or whatever we want to do. And then in my case, I was heading to Chiang Mai. I know it's getting a bit off subject, but hang in there. So I had a connecting flight. So they'll also take you to departures for domestic, help you check your bag in, and then they'll leave you there, and then you hop off you go and get your connecting flight. Makes the process easier, and you're not going to cop any unnecessary questions from the immigration officers, because the immigration officer you're going through is only dealing with people who have paid for the extra privilege and the pilots and cabin crew, and they're not dealing with the everyday passengers. So they're in a happier mood, let's put it that way. All right, so there's no question about one-way tickets or how much funds do you have and things like that. Not to say they won't, and it's that's why I bought the return ticket and leaving the country just as backup, but it's less chance. So moving on, the office. So I went through assist Thai visa here in Chiang Mai, I will leave their map location, Google Map location, down in the description if you're interested. Having no problems at the moment going through that. I'll let you know where I'm at with that. So I just called in there off the street, made no appointment, and went in there. This was one of the first things I had to do when I got to Thailand. So I went, after I stayed in the hotel where I think I booked that for about a week. My first priority was to go sort out the visa and then find my condo. So I went straight in there off the street, walked in, they welcomed me in there, and then I just said I was here just to ask questions about the process of retirement visa application. So we sat down, they went through it all. They said this is what it is, this is what we need. They looked at my passport, they saw my tourist visa there, they saw the dates on that, and they said, right, this. So basically this is what you do, all right? So like I said, I'm not going to mention the cost because it's a very individual thing and it all depends on your own circumstances, okay? So what they first have to do is have to change my tourist visa into a non-immigrant O visa, all right? That's the visa that you need, and that will be valid for 3 months, okay? Change of visa to a non-immigrant O visa, valid for 3 months, all right? That, because I've come in on a visa that's valid for a while, then there's no rush to do all this. So I didn't need to rush into it, but I just wanted to get this side of things out of the way first because it's, it's something on your mind. Finding a condo and a place to live, I was not too concerned about, but I needed to get the process happening. So I paid the fee to them, and this was on that day, no, the next day. So when I made an appointment to come back in with the visa and my bank, you also need to have, all right, so you need a minimum balance of 800,000 Thai baht in a Thai bank account, all right? Now, having foreign money in a foreign bank account, that won't cut it. You need to have 800,000 minimum in a Thai bank account, all right? And you need to have it there for, I'm just checking here, for 2 months before your application for the retirement visa, all right? For 2 months before. Once you've got that minimum in there, no problem, all right? Now, so what happens is, and I'm just looking at my notes to get this correct, you go with them to immigration, okay? And they start the process with the paperwork and you get all, and trust me, that day I went to immigration, I went with 3 others that were going for, one was going to renew his retirement visa and the other one was, I think they both were going to renew their visa, so I went with them. So they paid for our transport. We went into an immigration office, went up there. There were hundreds of people in there. I mean, it was packed, all right? And when you walk in there and you see all the people, you go, oh my God, look at this. There's another room at the back which has more than that many people again. It's, amazing. It was at Central Festival. At Central Festival, there's an immigration office on the top floor. Fortunately for us, paying for the service, we met a guy there who took the 3 of us through the crowds, past everybody, through into the next room where everybody was. It's a bit of a blur because it happened so quick. Straight up to the counter, straight to the girl at the desk there who first took all my paperwork that the guy had, and then processed it all, took my photograph, put their stamps where they put their stamps, and then gave all the paperwork back, and then the other 2 did all the same for them. Then we went back through out of that room into the other room where we signed all the paperwork. So there was about, gosh, about 8 pages that we had to autograph. And then we waited, and that was it. And then we had to, and we were told that was it. He gave us back our passports. There was a little blue piece of paper in there with a date for towards the end of this month. Okay. Now, we were told to keep that. So you had to keep that and don't lose that bit of paper that's sitting in your passport. So from then, one of the guys went back to the agent's office. I'd asked if I could stay there and do some shopping, so I stayed on and did some shopping, and then I went and did that. So 2 days before that date on that piece of paper came up, I went back to the agent, okay, assist visa, and they took my passport with that piece of paper, and they said, right, so in another, I think it was another 4 weeks, in another 4 weeks, they'll ring me and I'll come back in, and then that's when we will go and collect the retirement visa. All right. I know this all sounds a bit confusing. It is a bit confusing, but this is why I paid an agent to do this for me. Okay. So when we go back, I'm just looking here. To go back, we collect the retirement visa extension, 1 year extension. All right. Now, at the time when you go back, there's ones where if you want to get re-entry permits, you can do it at that time as well. Okay. So I've got, we'll tell you the price here because I think that's a standard price through immigration. It's 4,300 baht for a re-entry permit, which means you can come and go while you're on that retirement visa. And there's a 1,500 single re-entry permit, which lets you leave once and come back. But I'm quite sure that you can do this anyway. It's not like, oh, if you don't get one of these re-entry permits, you can't leave the country. You can, you've just got to apply before you leave, okay? This would just show that you have that already, okay? And you can just book your flight if you want to go to Cambodia or Vietnam or whatever during that year. The re-entry will let you do that multiple times. I don't think there's a limit. Okay. Now, the other thing to remember is that 800,000 Thai baht, you need to maintain that amount and not drop below, all right, for the 3 months that follow obtaining the 1 year retirement extension. So once I've got my retirement extension, all right, which is the retirement visa, because it's renewed every year, for those 3 months, I need to have that 800,000 showing in that account. When I go back after that, you can let that drop below 400,000 to a limit of 400,000. Okay, it can go down to that limit, but all right, 2 months before your next visa extension in 12 months' time is due for renewal, 2 months before, it needs to be back at that 800,000. Okay, so unless you've got funds coming in from elsewhere and you need to use that money, it's best just to leave that 800,000 and just don't touch it. Okay, just don't touch it. All right, now 90 days after the 1 year retirement extension has been obtained, all right, your first 90 days report will be due. So over here, you need to report every 90 days to immigration. Okay, basically all they want to know is where you're currently living. Okay, now another thing I forgot to mention was there was a TM30 form. TM30 is a form that shows where you're living. Okay, now it could be a hotel really that you booked into, or in my case I found a condo and I used the condo, the owner of the condo, my landlady, provided that for me. Usually the building corporation, they can supply that for you. It's not hard to get hold of this TM30 form. That needs to be put in with your application, okay, through your visa agent. Okay, so the 90-day reporting is just a matter of going in there and just showing evidence of where you're living. Simple. But you can see how busy it is in there. Now, you can pay extra, or it may be built into the fee if you paid up front with your visa agent, that they can do that for you. Okay, so in this case, they'll do the 4 reports for the year. You can pay for that. It's not much, it's actually quite cheap. And if you don't want to have to endure the waiting time in immigration, maybe it's worth doing that. I will probably do it the first time, but then after that I'll probably do it myself, just so I get the feel of how it works. Now, there is now also an option, it has been for a while, but apparently the system's working better now, where you can do your 90-day reporting online. You just need to register with the site first. You'll have to Google that and find out what that site is with immigration. You just put your details in there and then you do your reporting online, and it's quite simple to do. But I have heard that when you renew your yearly retirement visa, okay, and then you go to do your 90-day reporting in that first 90 days on the renewed visa, there's a problem with the system. It doesn't take into that account that you've renewed and you're into the next 12 months. I don't know if that's fixed yet, but that has been a problem. Otherwise, that is a great way to skip the queue and be able to do that. Some people just pay and get the agent to do it for you. It says here that they will notify you 2 weeks before the due date by email of your 90-day reporting. And I have heard you can do the reporting a week either side of when it's due every 90 days. And think about it, really. I mean, a lot of people complain about this and say, look, it's just a hassle and no other country makes you do this. But it's once every 3 months. If you can do it online, it's nothing. All right. And if you have to go to immigration office, well, I can't speak for that, but it's once every 3 months. I mean, it's a way of, if something were to happen to you, if you were to have an accident, end up in hospital, or worst case scenario, die, your family and relatives can contact the embassy and consulate and find out through the Thai government where your last location was. Okay, if you go missing, they can track you down. So it's a good security thing like that. Obviously, it's to hunt down criminals as well, but hey, fair enough, So that's the reason for that. Now, they do have written here the 90-day report due date and visas are not correlated. Okay, so if you renew your visa, the 90 days report due date will remain the same. Okay, so your 90 days date will stay the same each year you renew, because you're renewing on that date it's due every 12 months. Okay, so it does not have an impact on your visa. All right, so there you go. So that's it. I'm at the point right now where I will go back next week. I will go back to the office. They will ring me to let me know, and then we'll go into immigration and then pick up my retirement visa. So looking forward to that. And then it'll be from the date on that visa will tell me when my first 90-day reporting is. Okay, so there you go. It's all overwhelming in the beginning to go through all this, but anything that new is, even renting a condo is a whole new experience over here. but I've already gone through that in my earlier videos, if you want to go back and check that out. All right, now I will just quickly pause the video. My throat's getting dry, I need some water, and we'll come back. Okay, so thank you all very much for watching this video. I hope this clears up some questions that people have been asking about retirement visa and applying for it. Just remember that this is only related to the agency I'm using, which is Assist Thai Visa. I'll leave their link and map location here in Chiang Mai down in the description below. If you have any questions, I'll do what I can to answer and clarify what I've been saying. But please remember, I'm just going by what I've learnt and from what I've watched and been told by them. So I'm not the expert, okay? You can contact them directly, or any visa service. There's plenty around the place where you can get the information you need. One thing I will just touch on before I finish up is that a lot of people are concerned about the 800,000. Okay, there is talk of visa agents that will help with that. Okay, so you don't need to worry about so much about the funds for that. But I will say that Assist Thai Visa Services won't do that. Okay, you need to have that money in your account for the required application and periods of time that it's required to be there. Okay, there are agents, not so much that I know of up here in Chiang Mai, but certainly in Pattaya and places down where the much more touristy areas are, that can help facilitate the opening of a bank account and acquiring the funds that you need in there. Okay, Assist Visa will help you with your opening a bank account. That's not a problem at all, but you need to have the funds there. And in my case, I built up mine over time, so I use Wise as my way of transferring money from my bank accounts in Australia to Thailand, and it's been great. And there's a link down in the description for that as well, and I think you get a special affiliate fee-free transfer or two or something there, but check that out if you're interested. So what I did was, yes, I built up my funds, my savings, and I transferred it straight across. You can transfer your money into Wise itself and have the money just sit there. So Australian dollars would go into that. It's like having an online bank account and just have it sit there. And then when the exchange rate is good, you can then transfer it across into your Thai bank account, in which case, in my case, it was the Bangkok Bank. All right, and it's done instantly. Now, the first couple of times you do a transfer, it will take maybe a couple working days, but after the system knows you, it's literally in seconds. It goes straight in. All right, you can also do it directly from your bank account to your from your bank account in your home country directly to your Thai bank account as well. It's up to you, but the one I like about it sitting up in Wise in the account there is you can schedule a payment when the currency gets to a certain level. So for instance, in Australian, 23.5 Thai baht to the dollar, if you could set it so that when it hits that high point, it will automatically do the transfer and get that. All right. Also, when you begin a transfer, it holds that for 24 hours or from the time you're locked in. Okay, so if the rate were to drop during the transfer, particularly when you've got to wait a day or two, you're locked in at that amount, so you won't lose any money. Okay, And the rates are quite good too. You're pretty much getting the international exchange rate. There's no other fees. There's no other fees on it. Oh wait, no, there is. There's a small fee, but if you compare that to what your banks charge, and don't think that your banks, some banks in Australia, they advertise themselves as charging no money for international transfers, when in fact they may not charge you for international transfers a fee, but the exchange rate will be at a higher premium amount, and you'll get less. Okay, so do your maths and check. Where Wise might charge you $6 or $8 for a $10,000 transfer, or $5,000 transfer, that's going to be way less than what you would lose going through your bank and then using at their exchange rates, when you're getting almost market rate on Wise. Anyway, that's what I did. I built up my funds to the 800,000 plus from Australia, and pretty much just used it as a savings account until I came over here. And I've been doing that for the last year and a half with that account. Of course, using it for spending money when I come over here each year. Anyway, enough talk. Again, thanks guys. Thumbs up, comment below, subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye for now. Cheers.